Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Yutes on the base. We're going along the lines of going through the Mu'adim. So that we said in the last perek, the last Mishnah, Chamesh Mu'adim, right? And we did Ketzad Regel Mu'edes, and now we're doing Ketzad HaShein Mu'edes. And just as the previous stop was challenging, this is challenging. Ketzad HaShein Mu'edes. How is Shein a Mu'ed? The Gemara answers Lecha Saroila. The told of Shein is to eat what's normal fit to eat. The told of Shein is what's normal fit to eat. Abehema Mu'edes, Abehema is a Mu'ed. Lechol payers for Yerakas, which is normal for it to eat. So therefore, we had asked earlier, it's redundant. So by regular, we said you told me you're not having a tolda. Over here, we told us a behema and chaya. The chaya is b'chal behema. That's what the redundancy of behema was, if you might recall. Now, achla ksus of kalim, if it eats ksus or kalim, mishalim chatzi nezek. And now the question is where is this? Is this what exactly is going on? It'll be a pashut. It's mishuna. Mishuna means what it is keren, because it's not normal for an animal to eat clothing or kalim, and therefore you pay chatzi nezek as keren. B'medom amurim, where is the shein amud b'rishus hanizik? Al b'shus rabin potter, as it says, ubir b'steyacher, it's bir b'steyacher. Now, if your animal goes ahead and eats, let's say it eats $500 worth of payers, eats $500 worth of payers in rishus rabin, what do you pay? No, you b'shus rabin, you pata. You pata. B'shus rabin, you pata. But in fact, you did have hana from this person because you don't have to feed your animal. So even though you're not going to pay mashe his zika because it's patur, nonetheless you have to pay mashe nenes. You have to pay what? The hana. So therefore it says the nenes, and if he has hana, mishlemis mashe nenes. Kates mishlemis mashe nenes. When do you not how do you figure it out? But where is it considered rishus harabim that it's mashe nenes? Achlam b'toich harachava, if you eat in the middle of the street, mishlemis mashe nenes. That's rishus harabim. Mitzidei harachava on the sides, mishlemis mashe zika. That's considered a beer b'steyacher because you have rishus to be there. The pesach hachanus from the opening of the mishlemis mashe nenes, because that's rishus harabim. Mitoich hachanus mishlemis mashe zika, because that would be what? That would be a beer b'steyacher. So the Mishnah is mechadish the din of mashe nenes. Get into Bez Hashem, and the Mishnah is mechadish shein, the shein that it's a muad where dafka b'shus hanizik to what's right for it to eat, and it's not a muad to eat something that is strange. Tan Rabbanan, Hashem muad is lechol saroila ketzad behema shenichnas al chatzar hanizik, a behema that goes into the chatzar hanizik, again beer b'steyacher, ba'achla oichlin aruyin la, and it eats things that it's right for it to eat. The shasasa mashkin haruyla, and it drinks something that's normal for the drink. Then mishalim nezek shalim. V'chein chaya shenichnas al chatzar hanizik, a chaya that goes into the chatzar of a nizik, v'tarfa behema kills the animal v'achla, basa mishalim nezek shalim. Apparently no chiddush. Here's a chiddush, guys. U'para sha'achla soirin, and a para that eats barley, which is not the normal food of a para. The normal food of a para is kashinin. I think kashinin is vetch, right? Vetch, as in vegetables. The chamar sha'achla kashinin. So the normal food for a para is kashinin, and the normal food for a chamar is sa'irin. So they're eating. This is something a person will eat b'shas adchak. Like I know a person who, in a million years, does not like tuna fish, but b'shas adchak he'll eat tuna fish. Put it in front of him. So that'll be achila. But if a person b'chlal won't eat it, right? No shaykas to eating it. Well, I don't know if that's a good analogy. But it's got to be something normal. The kelev shalikik es hashemen, and a kelev laps up a kelev. Menachem, I'm in the middle of share. The kelev, the kelev shalik, kelev shalikik as a shemen, v'chazer shochel chaticha shel basar, and a chazer that eats a piece of meat, mishalmin esek shalim. So the chiddush in this case, fellas, is that it's even though this is not the normal thing for it to eat, b'shas hadchak you'd eat it. So achila b'shas hadchak shmei achila, and it's not mishuna, guys. If it was something they never eat, then it's mishuna, like chusus v'keling and pei chatzi nezek. The fact that they'd eat it and pay shame, it's going to be nesek shalim. So the chiddush over here is, even though this is not normal, but they'll eat it b'shas hadchak, you're going to pay. Amra Papa, Hashta the Armit. Now that you're telling me from this latter part of the Brisa, Komidi the Lavurche, anything that's not normal. However, Va'achle al yidei adchak, Shmei Achila, Hai Shunra Da'achle Tamre. Now, generally, cats are carnivores, but this cat ate a date. V'chamra Da'achle Binse, and generally, a donkey eats things that grow from the ground. It's a herbivore, and it eats binse. It eats a fish, right? Mishalim nezek shalem. You can eat nezek shalem because b'shas adchak you'd eat this, and it's not considered mishuna of keren when you eat it. Ahu chamra. There was a chamor de'achol nama upalse l'sole. So they had this bread, and in the bread it was a basket. In the basket there was bread, and the chamor ate the nama, and he basically ate the sal as well. So he's chayiv Rabbi Yehuda l'shalim nezek shalem anama. He chayiv to pay nezek shalem on the nama of al shein, the asal chatzi nezek, right? And the sal chatzi nezek because it's mishuna and therefore it's keren. V'amai kivin the urchi lemechel nama urchi nami lebluse sala, right? So in other words, you should have to pay nezek shalem. In other words, if it's going to eat through the basket to get to the food. So that would be normal also. So in other words, why do you get away with chatzi nesek on the basket? You should have to pay nesek shalem. On that, the answer is, well, you know what happened? It did not eat its way through the basket. It first ate the bread from the basket, and then the achal v'hada polis pas. So then polis. Then it went what? It ate the pas. So the achal v'hada polis pas orchehu, and therefore what? No, excuse me over there. The achal v'hada polis. V'hada polis. Good. Now, says the Gemara, after that, meaning, fellas, it ate the reason why you chatzi nesek on the basket is it first consumed all the bread, which is shein, and then after that, it ate the basket. So it didn't go ahead and eat the basket agav eating the bread. So it's mishuna on the basket, and therefore it's chatzi nesek. Now, it's mashma that what it's normal for what a chamar to eat bread. Fred the Gemara, upas urchehu uriminu. Achlu pasu basa v'tavshul. If it eats pasu basa v'tavshul, mishalim chatzi nesek. My lava behema or chamar, right? So for that seemed to be normal. It was dough. It was dough. That seemed to be normal. It was pecking. Yeah, that seemed to be normal. Yeah, I mean it's normal. That's normal chicken feed. That's normal chicken feed. So this is like a different bria. So the Gemara wants to know the following. The Gemara wants to know upas urchehu is pas normal what to eat for an animal to eat for achla pasu basa b'tavshil mishalim chatzi nezek. Of course, it's mishuna. So the question is what? It's eating bread. My lav is not speaking by behema. So you see, it's not the derech of behema to eat bread. So why is the chamor chayiv to pay nezek shalim on the bread? It says the Gemara loy b'chaya. It's speaking about a chaya. Fred the Gemara. So chaya not to eat bread is not normal. Fred the Gemara. What did you just say? You said bread, basa, v'tavshil. You said it's speaking about a chaya. Right. Question. Speaking about a basa is normal for a chaya to eat, guys, right? Basa is normal for a chaya to eat. How can you take it's nezek shalem? It's excuse me. How can you say it's chatzi nezek? It's nezek shalem. If you're telling me it's speaking about a chaya, says the Gemara chaya basa urchehu. Says the word the matve. It's not normal basa. It was barbecued. Chayas like their meat raw. They like that raw meat. They don't like barbecue. They don't like roasted meat. So this was roasted. So since it's mishuna, you're going to pay chatzi nezek. V'ba yasema b'tavia. You know what Chaya was speaking about, guys? We're speaking about a deer. We're speaking about a deer, and deers do not eat meat. There's albeit I saw the other day on YouTube a deer eating a snake. Okay, just be aware that's if you hear, yeah, speaking about an animal, and you know where they eat the lechem from. Really, they do eat lechem, but they're off the table. It's mishuna to eat it off the table. Since they eat it off the table, therefore, why you're going to pay chatzines? Okay, ahu barcha. There was this goat. The chazi lifta apuma dedana. It saw a turnip on the opening of a barrel. Sarach v'salik. It scratched its way up the barrel, and achel will lift it to eat the turnip. V'tavei ledana, and it broke the barrel. So chayve rava alifta v'adana nezek shalim. He was chayiv both regel on the barrel and shein on the turnip. My timer, kivin the urche lemecha lifta, since it's normal to eat the turnip, urchinami l'sruche l'masalik. It's normal to go ahead and ascend and try to get it. Ilfa, the Hema B'Shus Harabim. So now, guys, so we know that Shein is chayiv where in Rishus HaNisik, right? In Rishus Harabim Yipater. So what would the story be? An animal's in Rishus Harabim. There's another animal, and the animal's got food on its back. And the one animal eats from the back of the other animal. Is the back of the other animal considered Rishus HaNisik and Yechayev, or is it Rishus Harabim and Yipater? That's the Gemara's interesting. Ilfa, Behema B'Shus Harabim. And it eats from its friend's back. Chayeves. My time. Why you chayev? Regarding the din of Shein and another animal, an animal's back is considered like the rishus of the nisik, and therefore you be chayev nesek shalim. Leimer Messiah, I'll bring you a proof. You had a box and it was on his back and was going backwards. And the animal sticks his head out and eats from it. Chayeves, you chayev. So you chayev a raya that it's considered rishus hanisik when you chayev. Says Gemara, you have no raya. Kedam Rabbi b'koifetzes. The Rabbi said his din by koifetzes, meaning the animal jumped, and the chayev here is chatzi nesek al keren. We want to say the raya that what it says chayev it's nesek shalem, and the reason you chayev nesek shalem because why? The box on the back of the animal is rishus hanisik. Could be the box on the animal is rishus harabim. And you know why you chayiv? And you're not chayiv nesek shalom. You chayiv chatzi nesek because the animal jumped. That's mishuna. Mishuna keren is chayiv and rishus harabim, and therefore you be chayiv. So you have no riot to ilfis din. Hachanami b'koifetzes. Behechiyit maderava. Where did Rava say his din of koifetzes? Ahadu amar Rav Oishia. Behema b'rishus harabim. A behema in rishus harabim. Holcha v'achla. It goes along and eats in Rishus Harabim Petura. It's potter. Amda v'achla. If it's right, if it stops and it eats chayeves. Maishna holcha de urchehu. Amda nami urchehu. So in other words, it's urcha. It's shein in Rishus Harabim. What's the difference between that? What's the difference between an animal that's moving, an animal that stopped? What's the difference between the two? And the Gemara said over there, b'koifetzes. That's the case where Rabbi said his din of koifetzes. You want to know where he learned? He said his din by koifetzes. In other words, the umda is it jumped and it stood still. That's where Rabbi said, in other words, guys, we have a problem over here. You have an animal with Rishus Harabim, it's eating, and you want to say chayev, but you say holcha, it's pata. Now, what does that mean? It means pashtus. They're both walking along and they're eating from the back of the other animal, or else what's l'chayra? I don't. Why do I say that? I don't know why I say that. The hema b'shus harabim holcha v'achla. No, it's eating while it's walking ptura. Amda v'achla chayev. Why? Why are you chayev? So the Gemara says because fetzet is speaking about where the animal jumped. It's speaking where the animal jumped, which seems to be what? An act of mishuna. What he says it's speaking mitoch hakupa. Rashi chav aleph. Okay. Okay, let me. Learning that the umda here is koifetzes, and therefore it's the chiyuv is what is keren. Therefore you chayev. Okay.
And jumping it's keren.
It's jumping. It's keren. Right. Jumping makes it keren. Therefore the difference in umda means it stood still after it jumped, which is mishuna. So therefore that's why you chayev. Where ochlas is simply shame. Yeah, you had a kasha.
No, I'm saying that's why it's keren.
Yeah, right. Boy Reb Zera misgalgal mahu. Now let's say the animal. This machlek is Rashi and Taisus. We'll go with Rashi over here, guys. The animal is in one rishus, and the food's in another rishus, and the animal is rolling it over. The behema rolls. So let's say the animal is in rishus harabim, and he rolls it from rishus hayachid, or the animal is in rishus hayachid, and he rolls it from rishus harabim. Says Rashi, do we go after the animal or do we go after the place where the food was? So in a case where it's the animals in Rishus Harabim and the food was in Rishus Hayachid, if we go after the food, you're going to be chayiv, despite the fact that animal ate it in Rishus Harabim. Vice versa, if the animals in Rishus Hayachid and the food's in Rishus Harabim, right? And the opposite, the animals in Rishus Harabim, the animals in Rishus Hayachid and the food is in Rishus Harabim, despite the fact the animal eating in Rishus Hayachid, you're going to be pata because the food was in Rishus Harabim. So Miskalgal over here means the animal was in one place and the food was in another place. Do we go after the food or after the animal? Okay, that's the Gemara Shiloh. That's where Rashi learns the Shiloh. Place learns a different shot. Boy, Reb Zera, Miskalgal Mahu. Now, Heichi Dami, Kigoin, the Kaimi Omir Rishus Hayachid. There's some type Omir is a pile of straw or something in Rishus Hayachid, which would make it chayiv. Rashi says who I did the other way also, right? What's the din? Guys, here the shaila. If we go after the food was in Rishus HaYachid, you'd be chayiv. If you go after where the animal is, you'll be pata because he ate it in Rishus. The animal ate it in Rishus Harabim, fellas. It says my Toshma, the Tani Reb Chia, Masoi miktsasei bifnim and miktsasei b'chutz. And the Havamina is that initially it was in the beginning and initially on the outside. Achla bifnim chayeves, achla b'chutz b'tura. My lab misgalgol v'asi. That in other words, I'm going to go after the place where you ate it. Initially, it's here, but if it's rolled inside, you chayiv, rolled outside, you pata. That's what it means. Achla b'fnim. If the animal rolled it from the outside to the inside, chayeves. Achla b'chutz. If the animal rolled it from the outside, from the inside to the outside, patura. So you have a raya, you go after the animal. You don't go after where the place was, right, guys? Yeah, you're good. My lab miskalgo v'yasiloi ema achla al mashe b'fnim chayeves al mashe b'chutz patura enachinami. It could be that it's speaking where the food is. You go after the food. You're not left at the animal. If I ate when the food was inside, if I ate it outside, I'd be chayev. If I'm inside and I ate and the food was outside, I'd be pater. No, you have no raya. Another reason why it's not a raya. Ki kam Reb Chia, when the Reb Chia say this din, b'psila de aspasta. Psila is lashon of a wick. It's a long piece of food, and therefore, fellas, guys, let's see a piece of celery that's connected. So you view the inside of the celery as if it's outside, if the animal's eating it outside, because it's not like you have to roll it. It's one shtick, it's one long shtick, and therefore, you have no raya. Okay, now let's go back to the Mishnah. Let's go back to the Mishnah, guys. Right? That ksus kalim, right? What is that going on? Rishus hanizik, Rishus harabim. What exactly is that going on? That's what the Gemara wants to know. Hey, wait, Amar Rav Akula. That din that we just said, the din that we just said of the Torah of Rishus harabim is that's only said by Shane, or it's said on the din of Karen also. In other words, guys, look, I cut short. When it says Rishus harabim pater, is that going on only on Shane or even on eating ksus v'kelim? Guys, that's why eye contact. What is ksus v'kelim? If you have to put it in a category, what would it be? Is it bar, Aish, Adam, Shar? Which one is Shar? Karen, Shane, or Regal? Go with Karen, correct? Why? It's not normal to eat. It's Mishuna. Good. So how in the world could the Mishnah go ahead now and say the following? That you chayev chatzi nezek on eating ksus v'kelim. That's dafka b'shus ha nizek. But b'shus harabim you be pata. No, it's Karen. Karen b'shus harabim is chayev, guys. You hear the problem? In other words, if you're telling me the words b'medavam amurim, when are the first two cases stated? We said two cases, Shane, and then we had a case of Karen. And b'medavam amurim, both cases, when? In b'shus harabim. In b'shus ha nizek. Not b'shus harabim. But everything works. So now, it's carrying a chayiv. Hey, Amar Rav Akula, my timer. What's the reason you put? Okay, now Heshi is alluding to this. Kol Mishana, someone does something strange, like leaving their clothing and kalim in Rishus harabim, uba'acha v'shinu boy, and comes along. In other words, if someone would trample on it, that's normal. For an animal to eat it is not normal. So you have two shinuyim. One, you left it there, and two, the act of hezek is mishuna. Kol mishana, it's like a double negative, right? Kol mishana of bo'acha v'shinu boy is pata. So that's shot in the Mishnah, guys. Watch. Says the Mishnah. Ketzar Hashem uedes lechol tzeroya ochel ksus v'kelim b'sham chatzi nesek. B'medem mamurim b'chatzar hanizik. Al b'chatzar b'shus harabim pata. Why are you potter on regel on Shane? Because Shane is bir b'sliacher. Why are you potter on Keren? Because you have a double shinoi. A, the person left it there, and B, the animal ate it. Mishuna. So call him Mishana ubacha v'shinoi potter. That is Rav. Ushmul no. Shmuel says like I would have learned. The words of Medamam Amurim is only going on Shane. It's not going on Achel Ksus Kalim. Achel Ksus Kalim Yechayev even in Rishus Harabim. The Medamam Amurim is only going back on Shane. Shane is only Chayev Rishus Hanisik, but Rishus Harabim Yepata. What about Keren? Chayev Chatzinesik. I feel Rishus Harabim. So if that word Medamam Amurim is only going back on clause A, Shane, it's not going back on clause B. Medamam Ksus Kalim. We did not learn that Yechayev and Paris are Daf Rishus Hanisik. Ela Paris v'Yerakis. If you eat Paris v'Yerakis, where? Everywhere. Whether it's in Rishus Hayachid or Rishus Harabim. Reish Lakish agrees with Rav that the words Rishus Hanisik, Rishus Hamas is going both in both clauses, and he holds Kolamish. Obviously, that Reish Lakish must buy into Rav's svara of Kolamishana. U'ba'acha v'shinu b'yis pata. V'az Reish Lakish tamei dom Reish Lakish shtei paris b'shus harabim achas revutza v'achas maleches. You got two paris in b'shus harabim. One is crouching down and one is walking, which is not normal, guys. Crouching down in b'shus harabim or walking in b'shus harabim. Crouching. Okay, so crouching is nuts. Ba'ata maleches b'revutza. The animal that is upright kicks. What's kicking? Told of what? Keren. Don't all answer at once. Tolda of Keren. It's a good thing we have that chart. But it's a tolda of Keren, right? It kicks what? The paro that's crouching down. If you hold kolam mishanu b'acha v'shinu by what's the din? You pata. So revutza, bata b'vutza b'tura revutza b'lekas chayeves. Okay, that's Rabbi Yochanan. That's Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan malay shanu el peis v'yirakis. Al ksus v'kelim chayeves. But ksus v'kelim you be chayev. Why? Because he holds that it's Keren. Lame Rabbi Yochanan Leslie Reish Lakish. I feel b'shtei paris. Let's say he would disagree by shtei paris that either one would be, that even if the upright one kicks the lower one, you would be what? You would be chayiv. Meaning, again, what's Reish Lakish say? If you have a cow that's lying down, another cow comes along and kicks it. So there's two shinuyim over here. One, the cow lying down. And two, the para kicking. That's told of Keren. Says Reish Lakish Yipata. What's this? There's balloons going off in the middle. I'm hacked. No, it stopped. That was so strange. Did you see those balloons? Okay, I as long as you saw them, I'm okay. That's my biggest fear is that would be a big problem.
That's supposed to be your birthday party. Finally got there.
No, I downloaded the new, whatever. It's so once you do that, it's about following the whole thing. Oh, that was so crazy. Anyway, Baruch Hashem, I'm not the only one. That's my biggest fear. Okay, fellas. Anyway, guys, back.
I wouldn't get any consolation if this group agrees with you.
No, not about you. The guys on the screen. My brother-in-law is normal. David Friedman is normal. Dr. Hilly, I don't know. Mayor for sure not. Kenny, forget about that. Whatever. L'chaira. Because guys, very good. Listen. You have two cows. One cow is doing something strange. It's lying down. Another cow comes along and does another thing strange. It kicks it. Says Reish Lakish Yipata. Says Reish Lakish Yipata. Why? Okay. Right about comes along Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan says that in our Mishnah, when it says Peris v'Yerakos, that if you would eat ksus v'kelim, you would be chayiv even in Rishus Harabim. Let's analyze. What are the kelim doing Rishus Harabim? That's like lying down. That's one shinoi. The second shinoi is the animal eating it. And Rabbi Yochanan said in that case, Yechayev for Keren. So let's go ahead and infer the following. Just like by our case of the Mishnah, where you have two shinuyim, two strange things. Rabbi Yochanan holds Yechayev, so too by the two paras, the lying down para and the kicking para, he would hold Yechayev also. That's what the Gemara wants to say right now. Good, says the Gemara. This is weird. Says the Gemara. Lema Rabbi Yochanan less the Reish Lakish afila b'shtei paras. He would hold that what that Yechayev if you kick the one that's lying down. Loyal mislei ksus avdei loylam islay. He holds the Reish Lakish. In other words, guys, he holds of the concept of kala mishana ubo acha v'shinu bo yispata. So, a lying down animal is strange, an animal kicking it is strange. He'd agree with Reish Lakish Yipata. Why in our Mishnah does he hold Yechayev? Why don't we have two shinuyim in the Mishnah? A, putting the kalim there and B, eating it. He says it's only one shinui. Because it could be normal to put down the kalim. So in other words, it's not a case of two shinuyim. It's only one shinui. Therefore Yechayev. So where do we see that? It's like ksus avde inshe de manche glime umismarte. A person will go ahead, put down his shirts and spread them out to dry them or take a rest. And therefore it's not a shinui. Memeli, the only shinui is the animal eating. That's it's carrying chazishat nezek. Al behema lavor behema to lie down with rabim, knowing he can get trampled is not normal. And memelu he would agree with Reish Lakish that kol mashanu b'achabshin is bata. Okay, then we begin now a digression from Baba Kama somewhat. One of them, probably, if not the most famous sugi in Baba Kama, it's certainly up there in the top 5. My Rebbe said share on this for a month. And Baba Kama, I heard Shiurim, he said share on this for a month. This is the sugi, guys, of zenena v'zelei chaser. The sugi is if a person has hana and the other person want is like chaser, then are you chayiv or not? In other words, hadar b'chatzer chaver shaloi b'shus. If someone goes ahead and squats in his friend's chutzner, not in his house, in his friend's chutzner. Now this guy he doesn't rent out his chutzner. The other guy, he's not being nana because he has a house. For whatever reason, he wants to spend a weekend. He's not having anah. So if this person is not having anah, meaning he's not saving any money because he has a place to stay, and this person normally doesn't rent out his chutzner, so he's not taking a loss. Now the Pnei Yeshua says over here that it's called Midas Sidoim. What Midas Sidoim is you can't forgive anybody anything for no reason. In other words, it's Midas Sidoim. Why would you have to pay over here? After all, you're not taking a loss. You don't rent it anyway. It's no, as saying the vernacular, it's no sweat off your back. So to go ahead and be mechayiv is Midas Sidoim. My Rebbe spent a month yelling at this Pnei Yeshua. I mean, really, with starker rayas connected it and to understand exactly what's going on here. So basically, the sugya is that din, and we're going to take a blot and a half to figure it out, okay? Blot and it. The way we get into it is one wants to be poished it from our Mishnah of Mashanenis. Okay, what's Mashanenis? Let's go again. Even if you pata from Shane als Hezek because of the Gezeirus HaKosov of Ober Bistei Acher, nonetheless, you have Hana, you saved yourself supper. You don't have to feed your parah. Your parah ate up supper. You don't now. You're not going to pay him like a steak dinner. Even if he ate really ganz geschmack, you're going to pay him. We have machloikas what you pay him. But you're not going to pay him. You're going to either 2/3 of bezul or cheap stuff, but you're not going to pay full amount. So we're going to get into that sugya with just the lashon mashanenis. That's how we go ahead and leapfrog into the sugya, or segue into the sugya, so to say. Says the Gemara, v'mnenis mishalemes mashanenis. So if you had that no, even though you pata, you're going to pay mashanenis. The kama, how much is mashanenis? Rabba Omar demei amir, the worth of amir. If it ate soirin, you're going to pay the worth of shachas. You're going to pay no matter what good it ate. It could have eaten geschmack, the best material in the best food in the world. You're going to pay demei amir, which is basically sheep. Rabba Omar demei soirin. You'll pay soirin, which is a normal food. However, bezul, you'll pay 2/3 of the price, 75%, a third off. Tanya Kabasi the Rabba. You have a brisa that's a raya to Rabba. Tanya Kabasi the Rabba. We have brisa raya to Rabba that you're going to pay the Meyamir, and the Rabba you're going to pay Bnei Sol. Tanya Kabasi the Rabba you're going to pay the Meyamir. Rav Shimon Yechoyma. Emish Shalem Esel the Meyamir Bolvad. You only can pay the Meyamir. No matter what he ate, you're going to pay the Meyamir. A set amount of this cheap material, cheap food. Tanya Kabasi the Rabba that you're going to pay Soirin Bizul. And Nenes Mishalem Es Mashanenes Ketzad. Achla kavoi kavayim, if you ate a kav or 2 kavim, einoim teshalim demayim, you don't have to pay the full value. Eloim them, you evaluate kamo adam roitz lahachla meimasai davar roila. How much should a person be willing to pay his animal, pay for the normal food for it? Even if he's not used to eating such good food, if he eats chitin, which is not good for it, or davar is something that's bad for it, then patura, you be pata. Okay, so we have machloiks between Rabbi. Rabbi says you're going to pay demei amir, said based upon amir, and according to Rabba, you're going to pay based upon the mezul. You're going to pay, a third less. Now, Amr of Chista says of Chista, and here we get into our digression. Amr of Chista Rami Bar Chama says of Chista to Rami Bar Chama, Layavayis Gabam be'urta. You were not with us in the evening. Bitchuma, I guess he was outside the tchum. The boilon milim al yasa. In other words, we were in the base medrash. We were learning such a shmak of shot in the base medrash, and you weren't there to be part of it. So Amar said, Rami Bar Chama to Rav Chista, my milim al yasa. What was the shmak of stuff that you were discussing? So Amalei said, Rav Chista, Hador b'chotzer chaver shalei midaitoi. Someone lives in the chotzer of his rishus friend without his das. Sarch la'alei schar or ain't sarch? Does he have to pay for it or not? Guys, what are the different possibilities here? Before we go into it, if let's say the guy normally rents, even if he's chasser because he normally rents it out and he can't rent it out because you're there. What happens if he doesn't normally rent, but you normally pay? Right? Then you're having anah. So the only variable is where this person usually doesn't pay and this person doesn't rent. So zed nuloy nene is alachasa, right? Any other variable with stava pashit. So it says the Gemara, hey chidami, ilaim b'chatzah loy kaimila igro b'gavod loy over lemegar. If it's a chatzah, right, that's normally not rented and the guy doesn't go ahead and normally pay, zeloy nene v'zeloy chasa. This guy's not having a no, this person's vad is not chasa because this guy doesn't pay rent anyway. Ella must be speaking. B'chatzah the kaimila igra. It must be a chatzah that usually do rent. The gavod the over lemegar, the person usually pays rent. Zen nene v'zeh chasa. This guy's nene because he usually pays and he's not paying now v'zeh chasa. So like tzricha b'chatzah le kaimila igra. The guy doesn't. It's a chatzah that's usually not rented out. The gavod the over lemegar, but a person who normally goes ahead and pays. So this is since he normally pays, he's zen nene, and since the guy who doesn't want normally take rents like chasa. So what's the din? Right. Matzi Amalei. What did the Sadim and the Shaila? Matzi Amalei. My chisarticha. Good, I usually pay, but I didn't take. You don't rent it out anyway. So what loss are you taking? A Dilma, or perhaps Matzi Amid Beis Amar Hayis Hanis. In other words, the bottom line is you have Havanah. If not for my chutzner, you would have had to rent by somebody else. So do we go after the person who doesn't normally rent and is chasser and therefore you're potter, or do we go after the person who normally does pay rent and you're chayev? That's the kasha. Says Gemara. This is what was going on in the base medrash, and this was the shaila, and they weren't pushed the shaila. So Amalei Rav Chista said, "Masnisan he." It's a mishnah. So Masnisan Amalei, Rami Yochama said, Masnisan he. So Rav Chista then retorted, Hi Masnisan, which Mishnah? So Amalei, so Rami told him, L'chi tishamishli, when you mishamish me, I'll tell you which one. So Sakal Shudrach, so Rav Chista took his suder, right, the korachle, and he wrapped it up for him. Amalei, Rami told him, Imnenis mishalemis mashanenis. What do you see? If you have anah, you have anah. If you have anah, you have anah. Good. Now listen to this line. I would say this is a Churchillian line. Guys, Winston Churchill was known as a great orator. This is a mamish. Listen to this line. Says the Gemara, Amarava, Kamalei Chali Filei Margish Gavra de Marisaya. How much is it a person that doesn't get sick? He doesn't feel anything when HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes ahead and helps him. There's the Kutei Rashi. There's really Rashi's in Yuma. Rashi brings in the Gemara in Yuma that David did 2 averis and he wasn't punished because he had Siyata D'Shmaya, and Shaul did 1 aver and he was punished. Right? But in other words, Rami Bar Chama got off the hook because he answered Rav Chista with a Mishnah, and the Mishnah doesn't do the job. It's a huge kasha. What's the kasha, guys? Why did he answer, guys? Outside. Let's not guess. Outside. What's a shayla? Say, guys, zenena v'zelechasa. Good. I leave my food in Rishus Harabim. An animal comes along and eats it. You got to pay mashenenes. Is that hana? Is that chasa?
Yeah.
So how do you have chesed accepted? It's not a good sushtel. It's not a good sushtel. You hear? Our kasha is where the person had a na and the other person didn't take a loss because he doesn't rent it out anyway. Where's the Mishnah speaking about my food? Your animal eats it. Really, you should be paying me the whole thing because why? Because your animal fessed its face off and caused me a monetary loss. But it was Rishus Harabim. The Torah says a bir b'steyacher. Chutz, you have to pay mashenenes. But it's not a case of zenena v'zeh loy chaser. It's a case of zenena v'zeh chaser. So says the Gemara, unbelievable siyata d'shmaya that Romi Bar Chama got away by telling Rav Chisda this. He had siyata d'shmaya, Rav Chisda didn't bomb him. That's the Gemara. Beautiful. It's a beautiful poetic Gemara. Says the Gemara. Even though it's the case of Adav is not similar to our Mishnah. Kiblamine, Rav Chisda was makabel from him. Why? Good, guys. You good? Everyone's good. Gemara's gonna get very, very cute now, guys. I'm gonna give you a nice shtickle Torah. This is gonna make the blog. Rami Bar Chama stam peris b'shus harabim afkure mafkaluhu. If a guy puts his peris down in b'shus harabim, he's mafka the peris. So what's that called? It's a case of zenena v'zeh loy chaser. Now let me ask you a question. If he's mafka, why does he have to pay mashenenes?
Right.
If he's mafka, why do you have to pay mashenenes? Says Rashi, go up, second thin line, mafkalahu, v'lechasamidi. He left his food there, he was mafka, he's not missing anything. The seifin le'ibud, in the end, it's going to be what? Smashed up. Says Taisvis, afkuri mafkalahu, loy legamri. The imkain, in other words, when he's mafka, not completely. Why? Because if he's totally mafka and he's not the owner anymore, why do you have to pay him anything? It's a gavaldik at the hair. Ela misyayish mehem. He's misyayish. Shesavar sheyiskalku machmash sherabim darsan alehem. So in other words, he doesn't give up total ownership. He's kind of miyayish that you know what, it's going to get smashed up. Actually, yavoli demei mashenenes. Until that point. So he's miyayish, but until that point. But mashenenes, he's not miyayish on. In other words, says Toisvis, I have $1,000 worth of produce. It's going to get smashed up everything up until $100. But $100 I'm going to stay on. Therefore, when your animal ate it, even though he ate more, you only have to pay 100. That's Toisvis. Like Rashi, you mafka completely. So my Rebbe asked, how does Rashi learn Peshat in this Gemara, guys? Like Rashi, how do you play mashenenes? Okay, so the Ktsois is a beautiful, beautiful chiluk, guys. This is a Yisoid and Hefker. If I go ahead and say, here's my iPhone, I'm mafka my iPhone. I'm mafka my iPhone. Right now, is it still mine or it's not mine at all? Meaning, if it's still mine, what did I accomplish? I allow somebody else to come along and then I'm makna it to him. I allow somebody else to come along and let's just avoid this. I go ahead and this is crazy. No. I go ahead and it's not considered out of my rishus until the other person gets it. Or there's another way to look at Hefker. As soon as I leave it, it's totally out of my rishus. I'm gone. I walk away. Guys are here. There's two ways to view Hefker. Either even when I'm mafker it doesn't remain in suspended animation. It has an owner. Who's that owner? Me. And when another person comes along, I'm macking it to him. Or no. Or as soon as I say it's there and it's the right. As soon as I go ahead and I say that it's gone, it's gone. Guys, this is Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos throughout Shas. Rashi holds that Hefker works mitam das acheres makna. So Rashi can say you were mafka completely. But since no one else picked it up, it's still mine. Why I collect mashanenis. Because if you didn't pick it up yet, I'm still the owner. If I'm still the owner, then you have to mashanenis. Taisus, however, throughout Shastra and Hefker is what, guys? Completely. So therefore, you had a kasha. If it's completely Hefker, then why do you pay mashanenis? There's no owner. So therefore, Taisus had to come on and say, well, he's not mafka completely. So the machloikas between Rashi and Taisus in that threat, in how you touch up Hefker based upon the Ketzois, my Rebbe said, explains this beautiful chilik between Rashi and Taisus.
When the animal eats it, though, goes out of his rishus.
What?
At that point, when the animal eats
He wasn't kind it. The animal ate it. Wasn't animal. It's just that he wasn't kind it. The owner wasn't kind it, but it still remained there. Yeah, it was still mine. Animal can't make a kinyan, and I'm not marking it to the animal. Guys, geschmack.
Yeah, Lays. Do you remember? You remember in Kedushin, I asked the Ran how we have Mina Chalipin should work if he holds that the Ran is in the dark, the way he explains the way Kedushin works. Maybe this twice explains that also, because there is an integral part of Makna as long as no one picked it up yet.
Correct.
Because as long as no one took the Isha, she still Makna herself to him.
I think maybe we have to discuss it privately because I don't remember the Gemara, and also it's taking up time and space, and
I'm sorry.
that effect is going to come on the screen again. Okay, anyway, you hear the lumdis. It's a very nice lumdis, guys, and explains Rashi beautifully. Okay, the bottom line is that was Rami Bar Chama's chiddush, and the Gemara wasn't buying it. The Gemara wasn't buying it. Hanan. Okay, guys, look at the picture. Look at the picture. Rashi has again. If Rashi draws a picture already, it's showing we're back to Erevin, right? Right. Look at Rashi's picture. So Ruvain surrounds Shimon on three sides. Ruvain put up three outer walls. This is Rashi, guys. Obviously, Ruvain put up three outer walls to protect from outside. He then put up three inner walls for to be separate from Shimon. Good. Shimon does not have to pay for those three walls that he put up, unless he puts a fourth wall. Tanan. Ruvain surrounds Shimon on three sides. And he goes ahead and he builds three walls separating him from Shimon. We don't mechayiv Shimon to pay for anything. Haravias, mashma, if he put up a fourth wall, you would be mechayiv. Shmamina, zenena, right? Zenena. Shimon is what? Zenena, Shimon's having a v'zel loy chaser, and Ruvain, well, because he had to put it up anyway. Now less chayiv. Again, Shimon's having a Ruvain had to put it up anyway to separate himself from Shimon. So it's zenena v'zel loy chaser, right? You had to do it anyway. If you once were requiring Shimon to pay for the walls, then you obviously we can push that shaila zenena v'zel loy chaser chayiv. He could say, you caused me, in other words, you caused me what? A hekefi yasera. You caused me an extra wall. My Rebbe Zatzal made a diak over here. Why did we leave the original svara of Hasanis? You had a no. What are the two tzadim to shaila? You had a no, or what did it cost you, right? Now all of a sudden we're introducing a new one. What was wrong with the original complaint, guys? The original complaint was what? You're having a no. You're having a no. In other words, what was the tzad when we began the Gemara, fellas, that you should be chayiv, because even though you don't usually what, you usually pay, because you're having a no. This guy what? This guy doesn't charge. So that's his reason. What are you losing, right? Why did the Gemara now introduce and hold a reason? What was wrong with that reasoning? You know, he could have said simply over here, the original Gemara, look at the top line. Hasanis, right? You understand the kasha. Why is he introducing a new idea? Okay. Anyway. The Mishnah is a Mishnah in. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Mitzias is very.
Make that time up. You know that you caused me. Maybe Shimon was there first, and maybe.
No, but you being there caused me, not because you bought afterwards. The fact that you're there, caused me another wall. The fact that you are there, right? The Amalei, you know, no, Ruvain has a taina. Good, I bought the field around you, but if you weren't there, right, I wouldn't have to do it. Pashtus. Tashma. Rabbi Yosi. Amad Nikif, if Shimon stands up and Nikif and puts up the wall, the God of Revius Magagim of the Kol, he's going to get everything, right? Everything is going to be on him. Time of the Goda Nikif. That's the reason because Shimon put up the wall. Hamakif. Rashi learns if Reuven bought a fourth field, guys. Reuven bought a fourth field and he had to put a wall around it because he wants to be mechalik between this case and the first case. Pata. Shmamina zed nena v'zelei chasa pata. Zed nena. Shimon's having a no v'zelei chasa because he put it up anyway. Is pata. Shani Hasan damalei lididi sagli benatira barzusi. Shimon can kind of listen. You didn't put such a fancy wall. You could have put up less of a wall. Again, my Rebbe asked why you couldn't go chasdi. It's no sweat off your back. Why the Rosh Hashiva said over here? Why did you change? You left off the original, right? The original Gemara, the old Svara. You're answering two different things over here. Tashma, this Gemara in Bab Mitzia. Abayis v'aliyah shel shnayim. You have a bias of aliyah of two people. Shenaflu fell down. So you have a duplex. Kenny lives in the top floor, and Dr. Hilly lives in the bottom floor. Good. It falls down, and Kenny wants to go ahead and build a duplex. The problem is he can't build it until Hilly builds it. Kenny says to Hilly, live nice, go ahead, right? And Hilly doesn't want to. Haribala Leah Boina. Kenny builds the house. Boina Bias. V'yoshiv Boina lives in the house. Until Hilly gives him his Yitziyos. And Yitziyos who'd Mechayev Le Bala Bias. He doesn't have to pay what the schar for living there. Shmami no zen enev zolei chasa potter. So Mishani Hasan the base of Aliyah Mishtabed. It's different over there because what? Hilly is Meshubit to Kenny to build a house. Tashma Rabbi Yudoimer. Avzeh Hadab B'chatzav Chaver Shlemi Daitoi. Tzarech Lalei Schar. Shmami no zen enev zolei chasa chayev. Why? Because again, you're living there without rishus. No Shlemi Daitoi. It's not no sweat off your back. It says, and this is speaking about a house, guys. A chutzner, right? Shani Hasan Mishum Shechru. 1 second. Avzeh hador b'chatz chaver shleimit. Avzeh, what's Avzeh going on? Okay, Rabbi Yehuda is going on the case of the Bayis V'Aliyah, guys. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Avzeh hador b'chatz chaver shleimit daitay tzarech lalei schar. That even the case of Kenny would have to pay Dr. Hilly schar. Shmamina zen nena. Right? Chayev. Shani Hasan Mishum Shechrusa de Shisa. Kenny's using the house. Sud is getting on the wall. He's cooking different things. So maybe Hadar B'Chatza Chaveiroi, where you're not darkening walls, you don't have to give any money. In a house, in Bayis V'Aliyah, it could be different because in the Bayis, you're going ahead and darkening the walls. In other words, you have to pay schar because you are being mechusser the guy. It's not that like chasser. You are chasser. You're detracting from his house. Sholchu bei Rav Ami to Rav Yehuda. Omar, b'chima asaloi, ma chasroi, ma zeika. My Rashi was medayik. If it's midas sedoim, why are you going ahead and midas sedoim is midas sedoim? What's all this build up? It's mashma three things. Ma asaloi, what did you do? Ma chasaloi, what did you lose? Ma zeika, it means why are you chayiv? Rav Chia bar Abba Omar, l'shiashiv b'dava. Let's look into the matter. Hadar sholcha kamed Rav Chia bar Abba Omar, kula hay sholcha levazli. They sent it again to Rav Chia bar Abba. They wanted an answer. They didn't get an answer. They sent it to again, and he said, why are you sending me so many answers? If I would have found an answer, don't you think I would have answered it to you? So I'm Itman. I'm Rav Kahana, Rav Yochanan, ain't it tzarech lalei schar? You don't have to pay. I'm Rav Yochanan, we have machlokes what Rav Yochanan said, tzarech lalei schar. Like Rav Kahana, Rav Yochanan said you don't have to, and like Rav Avo, Rav Yochanan says you have to. I'm Rav Papa. Okay, okay, let's finish up. I'm Rav Papa. Hi, de Rabbi Avohu, that you have to go ahead and pay lav b'feiver shitmar el mechala itmar. He didn't hear it openly. He said it, but from an incident that happened, he inferred what Rabbi Yochanan's psak must have been. Okay, we all know, guys, there's a din of me'ila. Me'ila takes place in one of two ways: a shinei rishus, or having hana. So you have a beam. If you have a beam, the gizbar takes the beam. He takes the beam for himself. It hasn't left the shurus of Hegdish. It's still his. Hegdish Gizba is considered Hegdish. If the Gizba gives it over to somebody, the Gizba is moil. Why? Because he took it from Hegdish to Chulin. Let's say he builds it into his house, but he doesn't build it in that there be a shinoi. He just puts it across the lintel and he lives underneath it. Now he's having hana. By living underneath, he's having hana. With that in mind, we're going to be poished that we want to infer that Rabbi Yochanan must hold. Right? Now, does Hegdish know that this beam was taken away? No, the Gizba doesn't know it's Hegdish. He doesn't know. So this is similar. That the guy is living underneath. He's living underneath living underneath the beam. He's living underneath the beam, right? And Shlemi Daitoi, and nonetheless he's going to be moil. So you see that you're chayiv, or else if you're not moil, you'll be chayiv. Tanan. Natal Evan Ikoira. If you take a stone, a kaira or a beam, shall hegdish. Harizela moil, the gizb is not moil. Nasnul Chaveiro, if the gizb gives to his friend, who moil, the Chaveiro loy moil. He's the one who's moisim rishus. Bonal Latoich Beisai, if you built it into your house, Harizela loy moil, you're not moil, at sheyida tachteha shava pruta. Till you went ahead, lived underneath it, the worth of a shava pruta. Let's say you put Paris over there and protected it from the rain. V'amar Shmuel, v'hu shenicha al pi aruba. You put it across the aruba is like a window, so it closed off from the rain. V'yasir Rabavo kamed Rabbi Yochanan v'kama mishmei de Shmuel. So I say meres when you're moil, guys. Moil means you had hana, means you had enough from the beam. Someone who lives in the chutz of his friend Shalomi Daitoi, this person living underneath the beam Shalomi Daitoi, when he's moil behegdish and he has to pay, so we can infer in another case you have to pay. Guys, you hear the tushtel. Let's go outside. I'm the gizbar. I'm living underneath it. I'm moil. Why am I moil? I'm having hana. So it must be that in the same scenario where a person lives in the chutz of Shalomi Daitoi, he has to pay because he's having hana. So that's the tushtel. Okay. And Rabbi Yochanan was quiet. So they assumed that Rabbi Yochanan was quiet when Ravo said this. It must be he agreed with the psak. Says the Gemara. And he Rabbi Yochanan was quiet. Iu savar. He Rabbi Vo held midish shasik moidele. When he was quiet, he was moided to him that Adam mechatz chaver shnami daitoi tzarich la'aleschar. V'loihi. He was not. Rabbi Yochanan did not agree with it. V'loihi ashkuchi lo yashkach beit. You know why, guys? Listen to this. Living in your friend's chutz shlemi daitoi. Who does hegdish belong to? Hashem. There's no such thing as shlemi daitoi. So therefore, the reason he held you, the reason, right? He said reason he held is not a good sushtal. He didn't answer him is because it's not a good case because this is mitaitai. So lo yashkach beit kiderabba dama rabba hegdish shlemi das kehedye midas tami hegdish shlemi das is kehedye midas. I'll go pick it up here again tomorrow in the middle of this subject.